Afternoon. I'm going to go over the measuring drawing technique that we started in class, and I'm going to work on this one because it's more difficult doing the curvy shapes, so we're going to have a look at that. We've got boxy shapes and curvy shapes in here. I'm not going to talk all the way through it because we've done that in class, so I will just keep doing little reminders as we go along. So remember, it's all important to get the measurements right and make sure that it's square. Remember to deal with one strip at a time. I'm sorry if my head goes in shot. So I'm making my grid, and remember I need to overlap so that I can use the overlapping lines at the edge of the box to plot my grid when I'm ready. But I'm just plotting in these strips of text, so I'm actually just going to deal with one at a time. I'm just going to tidy up that edge in there so I know where the edge is, both sides. I'm working on a photocopy. So remember to line up the markings on your ruler with the edge of the square so you know it's a straight line. I'm just dealing with this little strip of text here, okay? If I start drawing lines all the way up, it's going to confuse what happens on the line of text above. So I'm just drawing my squares in here. They're really closely packed together. Okay, so I've created my little box. On the two zeros, they're going to line up, so I can just go across there, and I can go across there. Remember, with curves, we're doing a mixture of measuring and freehand. Because we've got a grid, it makes it easier for us to use the positive and negative shapes to get an accurate shape. In this number 2, it's slightly different kind of a grid as well. But what we're looking to do is have a grid that just enables us to see the elements of the curve much easier. So we're not guessing and we get something that's much more accurate. Okay, so I can make a start on those. So remember, I'm measuring these points and I need to measure how far in each of these boxes go. Okay. 5 mil. Two points means you've always got a straight line. Let's see what I'm doing. It's 19, so it's 38 on here. Okay, so that's my 2008 box. Now I'm going to do the letters. 5, 6, 7, so it's 14 on here. There is a tiny gap of 1 millimetre between the letters, so it's 2 mil on here. That's 3 mil. So that's going to be 26. gap between the letters should be a milligram, which it is. Start to notice the regularity of the spacing and the width of the letters. Makes you understand the proportions of the letters, and it's much quicker to do. 26. Right, so I've got my boxes ready. It's going to be this 2008. It's going to fit into there. So I'm just going to grid these other lines in now. Just take those to the edge, you might see them easier. I'm going to start with those 2 zeros. $15 on there, so it's 3 on here. Sorry, 30 mil. Oh, there's 15 mil on there, 3 centimetres. I'm just working in these 2 boxes, so I know they're the same. I'm going to measure the width of the letter, the side of the letter. It's 5. There's 1 here, and it's the same on the other side. Measure in from the side and plot those lines in. So I've got a little grid emerging for the first 0. And the second one will be the same. So wherever you've got a repeat letter, remember the proportions because it will be the same. Line up your markings on your ruler and your baseline so you get a nice straight line each time. Okay, so now I can plot those 2 zeros. So look at the positive and negative shape. In this case, the Y is the positive shape. So we're looking at what this curve looks like, and I can see that it goes from corner to corner. Okay, so I'm just going to plot that shape in. I'm not going to try and plot the whole lot in, so I'm just plotting that in really lightly so I can make adjustments. And that's going to be similar in the other box as well because it's fairly regular shape. I find it easier to move around a little bit when I'm doing this, or move my page around. I'm not going to do that today because that'll get in the way. Okay, and then I've just got, look, there's a tiny little curve on the edge of here, which I can plot in very subtly and interestingly enough. Okay, so you can still start to see that emerging, and then once you're happy, you can soften that in a little bit and you'll have your 0. So I am creating a grid so I can be more accurate with my freehand drawing. And I'll do the same over there, but I'm going to have a look at the number 2 as well next because that's quite tricky. So So if it's a 1.5 or a 2.5, go with it. Don't round it up because it will just change the shape of your letters when you do it. And if you are doing something and you think, oh, that doesn't look quite right, I can already plot in this small shape. But if it doesn't look quite right, just measure it again. And you might just find you've miscalculated. And then you can correct it. So I know I've got this little corner in here and I've got a line in here as well. So I can plot this little shape here. There we are. What is the distance between that and the outside? That is 4 mils. It's going to be 8 mil along here. I think I've right. So I've just plotted this point here, in here, and if I extend this line across, that's going to help me know that there's a little curve that comes out from there. And it kind of goes, a little mistake, sorry there, it goes up like that, it curves across the top end of that box, and then there's a little point where this meets. This is so small, I'm going to measure it anyway. I reckon it's 1 millimetre. Yes it is. So I want 2 mil here, little drop in there. Okay, so I'm not relying too much on my eye. I don't need to. And the grid is kind of drawing in the letter for me. So now I can block in the rest of that too. We can see the thing's starting to take a bit of shape. Okay. The grid is enabling me to observe what type of curve it is. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one there.